Uh, this bill really does stymie public input and participation in the governmental process. Additionally, it reduces transparency. Our job is to make it easier to participate in the governmental process, not harder. This bill actually makes it harder. And my biggest concern is there are a number of terms that are very broad. Specifically, it allows dispensing of the public hearing requirement with respect to transit-oriented development projects. However, it is unclear whether a TOD actually includes an airport. A TOD does not have to be residential. Our statutes define it as something that can be commercial. And so because of that, I am worried that this could have the unintended consequence of dispensing with the public hearing requirement with respect to an airport if an airport is considered a TOD. I have witnessed firsthand in East Haven the disjustice that federal process can sometimes render. And there are 900 people who submitted written testimony in opposition to plans to expand runway 9-20 who feel like their voices were not adequately heard. If this proposal were to be passed, I have grave concerns that an avenue for additional public participation through this adjudicated hearing process would be eliminated. And those 900 people's voices would continue to be silenced when they're already feeling as if their voices were not heard. Now, keep in mind, this is with respect to a proposal to not only expand the runway, but a proposal that also implicates adding a new 80,000 square foot terminal to the east side of the airport, which is located in East Haven, and creating about 4,000 new parking spaces, which will vastly increase impervious surface in the area, exacerbating flooding and runoff issues that are already taking place there. When you submit one of these petitions to trigger a public hearing, you have to be able to articulate how the regulated activity involves conduct that has or which is reasonably expected to have the effect of unreasonably polluting, impairing, or destroying the public trust in the air, water, or other natural resources of the state. That was a mouthful for me to say. Now imagine a layperson having to sit down and articulate that. That's a lot for somebody to have to do. And even if you articulate all of that perfectly, the commissioner may not agree with it. The person seeking to conduct the regulated activity may submit an objection, which the commissioner may agree with. In the end, we are erecting a lot of hurdles to triggering a public hearing, and we are making it a lot easier for the public's voice to be silenced, all believing that these federal processes, these public participation forums, whether they be through NEPA or something else, are going to be sufficient. And as I stated earlier, there are 900 people in and around East Haven who would sit here and come here today and say that those processes are woefully insufficient, who feel that their voices were not heard. We don't want people or advocacy groups coming in for the sake of delay, for the sake of antagonizing, to delay these processes. We want to be able to advance our infrastructure needs, but what we don't want is to, again, stymie public participation in those very processes that are going to advance our state. So at a minimum, what I would ask of you is that the bill be clarified to make explicitly clear that despite the definition of TOD under our current law, that for these purposes and the adjudicating hearing process, TOD does not include airports or projects located at airports. More so, I would request that if you're inclined to change the petition standards, in other words, the things that people have to prove in order to trigger a public hearing, that they be relaxed. Again, these are lay people who have grave concerns, but absolutely do not have the same understanding of a lot of these nuanced concepts that you and I do, or that many other subject matter experts do. We cannot put this in place and erect barriers to people participating meaningfully. We really shouldn't be sacrificing public input for a little bit more inconvenience. In my opinion, I think it's more important that we foster public participation rather than stymie it.